What is up, everybody? It's Matt Johnson here. This is Real Estate Uncensored. This is the place where you get actionable ideas, insight, and inspiration to turn your real estate career into a life of freedom. We have a great guest today because the guest is us. That is the way it is. We have no other guest, and no guest is needed because I have Greg McDaniel, the junior grandmaster himself, is in the co-pilot seat as always, where he rightfully well should be. And we're taking questions, but more importantly, we're talking about lead generation, the hard and the easy, and what works best. And we're going to get into some cool stuff today, as well as pulling some questions from the Lead Gen Scription Objections Facebook group. So first of all, Greg, what is up today?
What up, Johnson? Hey, man. It is an awesome day. It's Monday for all of you that are watching this live. And I survived the weekend. I went to a monster truck rally. Never been to one. It was like the inner 8-year-old boy in me came bounding out. I'm like, oh, big trucks, loud noises, jump and crush things. It was freaking awesome. And had a great time doing that. You and I did a marathon recording session for one of our new products on Saturday. We were both brain dead by the end of it. And,
yes, we were.
Oh, my God, dude. It was so much fun. But we got
so brains are both just splattered all over that product, that video recording we did.
Oh, dude, it was rough.
Yeah, it was rough. But that's because we poured our heart and soul and much of our other videos, so you guys will hopefully get the benefit of that. And we just on Facebook Live, so Carlos and Jill and Holly and Josh Grunt. You share it onto your profiles. We really appreciate that, which reminds me I need to do that right now. But we appreciate you also just sharing it organically by telling other people about it, other people in the business, your friends who are realtors, as well as people that just share it with people that are outside of real estate. God knows why they bother to listen to us, but for some reason they do. Somehow we manage to bring value around sales and marketing to people that aren't even in real estate, which is really cool. So we're going to talk about lead generation today, but Greg, any thoughts, since this is a Monday, this is a new week, we're getting started. We've got some cool guests coming up in the next couple of weeks, but it's just you and me today. So what's on your mind when it comes to lead generation?
Dude, I can't get it out of my head, brother. We have our new product coming out, right? And, I just put in the link of Get Now Business, guys. We have labored over this thing, and it is a new product we're coming out. We're so excited about it because we kept on hearing on the show, and people were giving feedback, and then doing the McDaniel challenge and everything else, that people are just like, dude, I don't want to fucking go door knocking. I don't want to do cold calling. I'm not going to happen, right? Well, dude, it is amazing because this is a product that we put together. And what it is, it's no door knocking.
Not a product, just
class.
It's a class. It's a 4-week training class.
Class. Sorry, wrong word. No door knocking, no cold calling, and your budget is less than $500 a month. This is what can help you get business today, not in 6 months. So we're super pumped on that, and I think the hard versus easy. I actually have right here, Matt. I have a farming product that I put together, and I actually have all of them identified, what's outbound cold and colder, what's warm and warmer, and then what's warm to hot. So, there are there's just a lot of ways you can blend it together. And a lot of people people tend to go towards the easy or warm because they think the cold is going to be hard. When in reality, I don't honestly think that's 100% true. I think, hard can't mean cold, sometimes can be harder, but it's not always. I mean, sometimes the hard prospect is family and friends.
For every person that runs away from cold calling thinking that it's harder, I think there's another person that runs from their database and would rather call an expired listing or a for sale by owner because they don't want to talk to people they already know because they don't feel like they have the credibility because those people know they haven't been in real estate for more than 2 years. So that was what I did when I first got into real estate, So I know what it's like to be in those shoes too, where you're like, yeah, like the call might be harder, but I'd rather work with people that don't know I'm new or inexperienced or whatever. So yeah, I think there is a lot of there is a lot of I don't want to say confusion. Confusion is the wrong word. I would say just misperceptions. Maybe that's a better word for it. Misperceptions of what's actually harder and easier when it comes to lead generation. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I do. I mean, or just different personality types, Matt. Because for something that's easy, you and I jump on camera like that, and we come alive, and we have a lot of fun. Everyone else is like, holy fuck, I don't want to get on camera.
People shut down. You turn a camera on them, and it's like they shrink like you dumped a bucket of water on a bunny.
Why are you beating up bunnies, you jerk?
I watched Zootopia this morning.
Little bunny foo-foo, hopping through the forest, picking up the field mice, and bopping them on the head.
That's right. Except there's not enough bopping on the head. That's an aggressive bunny. These are like frightened bunnies that the camera turns on them and someone immediately douse them with an ALS challenge bucket.
Yeah, and so for us, that's really easy. But for me, like doing follow-up and database work, when that could be really easy for, SNSC, oh my God, that's bone-crushingly boring. And like I will go from like super energized like this to be.
Yeah, all right. Now we've never really talked about this. Do you mind if I dig into? Can I just ask you? But maybe put yourself on the psychologist's couch real quick.
I was just gonna.
Why do you think that is? I know. Just lay down on the couch. I've got my Hobbit pad. But I've always been curious about this because it's not like you're not personable. It's not like you're not a high I, because you are. You are a people person. You have no problem going out and door knocking and talking to some of the same people you've talked to over and over again. So what is it about like calling through your database that where you'd rather just call a cold prospect for the first time than talk to someone you might have already talked to before?
Dude, there's so much fucking labor-intensive work to do when it comes to calling your database. You got to read all the notes. Then you got to dial the number. You got to wait for it. Then you got to leave a message. Then you got to enter in the notes. And then you got to calendar the next one. Then you get to go do the next. You go to the next person. Fuck me, that is boring. But being on a dialer and being able to chat with folks, and it's constantly live fire, that's fun. I enjoy doing that because it's an adventure. I don't know what's on the other end of that line. I mean, yes, is there business calling through the database? Absolutely, and that's an easy, that's a warm follow-up. Very effective, by the way. I mean, I went and I did, I did a bunch of follow-ups last week, a ton of follow-ups last week, and I got some really good calls and I got some really good updates on what's going on with these different people. But was I bored shitless? Yeah. I was to the point where I'm like, I've got to get.
Let me ask you why you're bored shitless. Is that when you get onto a call with them and they're sharing like what's going on in their life? Is there just, did they feel like there's a connection where you don't feel like there is one from you to them, where you just don't care what's going on in their life? Like, are you calling people that are just kind of like in your extended database and you don't really have like a personal relationship with them? Like, what are those calls like?
No, it's not that I don't care. I mean, of course I care. Mm-hmm. I want to see how good things happen. It's just for me, I would rather spend my time doing outbound. I'd rather be filling the database constantly up instead of going into the database and drinking from in here. I'd rather keep pouring more stuff into it. That's what I find more fun to do. And then most people are like, fuck, cold calls, cold door knocks. That's what you find fun. You got a screw loose up there, McDaniel. And I sometimes agree with them that I have a screw loose, and it's okay. But you got to also understand that when I was doing this stuff, I didn't have money for any lead sources. I didn't have money for anything else. I had nothing. I had to do it the cold way because that's the only thing I had. I mean, I mean, it comes down to what you can afford and what you can do. I mean, at the end of the day. So I mean, there's no wrong way either.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about, and I'm not going to repeat a comment that Brian put on here, but that is funny. Jill says, I wish I could hear this without video so I can hear it while driving. Well, Jill, you are in luck because we are on iTunes and always have been. In fact, we have about 50,000 people a month listening on iTunes. So go check out the show there, and you can download any previous episode, and you can subscribe to the show so that you get the audio feed so that you don't have to listen to these with full video if you do not like. You should not be having us on video while you were driving. It's very unsafe. We do not recommend that.
Jill says, yay!
That's right. But I wanted to cover this little kind of comment/question that a guy named John here put on the Facebook group. It says, funny story, I was calling Fizbos today and had a pretty bad call, a couple of bad calls in a row. He says, I was about to give up and I decided to hang on for a few more minutes. And the next call was almost as bad until I asked what he did for a living. Turns out we worked at the same company 10 years ago. I went from no appointment to a $500,000 listing appointment just like that. 3 Feet from Gold, which, by the way, is a good book that everyone should read.
Yeah.
But that brings up a great point, right? Because, and this goes for Fizbos or kind of anybody else. So one of the things that kind of makes lead generation easy or hard is what kind of trust level you have built up with the people that you're calling. So if you're calling Fizbos, you have, not only do you have no trust, you have active distrust. They have decided that they do not trust real estate agents. You automatically fall into that category. But isn't that funny? They're a for sale by owner, But once they figure out that they actually have a personal connection, that he's not just an annoying real estate agent, he's an actual human being with a past and a common ground that they share, bam, he's got a listing appointment.
Yeah, it's all about building that rapport, and that's the art of it. I guess Matt, this is what goes back to your question initially for me. Mm-hmm. Why do I not like calling through the database? Because the hunt's over, the game's over. They already kind of know.
So? Why is the game over in your mind?
Because I love going out and finding someone and they don't like me, and it's a game for me to see if I can turn them. Can I get them to like me? Can I get them to interact with me? And the prize crown jewel, can I get them to laugh in any way, shape, or form? That's why I'm a little bit goofy, and I do that on different calls. I'll say things that are totally out of the norm. Matt, you and I know, like we're training with prime seller leads with their ISA and their sales divisions, and we've seen their numbers just hockey stick up with their conversions lately from just small tweaks in verbiage, and that's what I excel at, and that's what I love to do. So that's why I like to do cold calls, I guess. It's because it's like, can I get them? And then once I get them, it's like, all right, well, whatever, I got them. Now I let my rest of my team, cook them. I've killed them. I'm gonna throw them back to them. They can skin them and eat them and skin them and cook them. I want to go keep hunting for the next kill.
Yeah, we've talked a lot, and I've never heard you really accurately describe why you would rather make cold calls. So that's really interesting. You would rather take someone that doesn't know you, doesn't like you, doesn't trust you, and you want to make them laugh. Yeah, and then you want to have someone else close the business.
Yeah, I just want to open. Yeah, hey, you get started with it, and then you motherfuckers, you guys get to deal with the rest of it. I'm gonna go do other cool shit. Right. And Kevin, yeah, baby, you know it, dude. Knuckles to you. Brian, you're awesome, dude. Brian has a hangover from the Chris Voss interview. Too much good information in a short period.
Yes, that and the Galtieri interview. Yes, those are both really, really great interviews. Love the Chris Voss interview. That was a lot of fun for us to do.
Yeah. What up, Jim? How are you, man? Glad you're here, brother.
Mm-hmm. All right, so let's get back to kind of the hard versus easy conversation, because so Greg, you're right, like, and you're a perfect example of that, where your personality type kind of changes what is perceived as hard or easy for you. So if you're an SC, or if you're just more of a relationship driven person, who's a good example of this? Well, we talked about him last time on the show, Jonathan Zabrocki in San Diego, the guy that sends like candy and flowers to leads. Then you've got there's a guy in Florida, and I forget. I cannot remember his last name. Jason Bourne. Something.
Jason Bourne.
No, not Jason Bourne. Thank you very much. Anyway, he runs a great team in Florida, and about 65 to 70% of the team's business comes from referrals. A good chunk of that is from his personal database that has then been passed on to the agents on his team who maintain the relationship. Now, he, at a very high level, maintains relationships with like the super high value people in his database, just calling up his lender and his business network and stuff like that, and keeping in touch with them. But everyone else in his database, which are, a few thousand, 5,000 or 6,000, I'm sure, that are in his personal database, he has agents on his team calling and maintaining that relationship. So Greg, maybe the answer for you to keep on growing and keep on expanding is like, you focus on what you do best, keep on filling the top of the bucket, and bring in agents to call in the database. And it sounds like they need to do probably a better job, which is why you reached out to guys like talent prospecting and stuff like that to give them a shot, is why you're having Bev go through a database and kind of organize things to make that process easier so someone else can go through the database. But it can be done. So there are people out there doing it where you may have a personal database and it's too big for you to keep up with and maybe you don't want to do it anymore. So how do you have someone else call your personal connections? Well, other people are doing it.
Yeah, I mean, another way to do it, but I want to give a quick shout out super quick to Josh and to Haley. Both, Josh owns Prime Seller Leads. What up, guys? Glad you guys are watching. Good to hang with you guys today and the rest of your crew. You guys are awesome. Awesome humans, and we appreciate you listening to us. We love watching you guys grow. That's a personal thing for Matt and I. We get a kick out of that. What was your question? I got totally sidetracked.
Well, before you got sidetracked and started thanking people for watching, you were going to comment on another way to do it. So were you talking about having ISAs call through your database?
Yeah, so another way that you could get out there and you could have someone follow through your database if you're a flat ass broke, or if you're a cheapskate. Go get a younger agent that maybe came to you for coaching or training or mentorship, or someone who you see is hustling but not getting any business in the office. If you trust them enough, have them call through your database for you or with you. And just kind of thinking about this out loud, and this also can go back to some of the stuff in the getting out business stuff. It's a symbiotic relationship, because you as the agent that have the leads, you can't follow up with them. They're going to die off, or someone else is going to get them. And you can teach another agent how to fish for themselves, and then you can maybe build a nice partnership or some sort of business relationship from that point forward. Because if you guys, 100% of zero is zero. I would gladly take 60, 50, some sort of percentage for someone else to do the work, and not be fearful that they would take the numbers, because it's in your database. You know what? It's the same difference of them going out and meeting these people potentially at a get-together or a cocktail party or a birthday party of a mutual friend that you didn't know was there. But if you can get paid by it and from that and help another agent, and they help you, it could be a very beneficial opportunity.
Yeah, I agree. And just thinking about kind of like, how can you have someone that's not you calling through your personal database and actually convert that into deals? I think one of the best things they can do is just invite them to an event.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the script goes something like, "Hey, John, it's Matt. I'm just calling on behalf of Greg McDaniel. He asked me to personally reach out to you because he wanted me to invite you to a special event that he's throwing, and just wanted to send over a few details and wanted to see if you're still at, if you're still living in the same place, and confirm your email before I sent you over the official details for the invite. Would you mind if I confirmed your information real quick?" That way you do a couple of things. So number one, you're reaching out, you're reconnecting, you're reconfirming where they actually live, make sure they haven't moved out of the area and you didn't sell their house. And number two, you get their email. So you get a brand new, their best email. And just like give them a little bit of detail about the event, like, hey, it's a wine and cheese mixer at such and such of place. It's next month on like a Tuesday after work. So it's easy just for people to swing by on their way home, so it doesn't take too long, but you love to connect and just see everyone face to face. So I wanted to send over a few details on where exactly and when that is. Would you mind if I sent that over by email? So.
Yeah, and then just, hey, everybody, out of curiosity, Greg asked me to ask you guys, are you guys folks thinking about buying or selling any real estate this year? Or you guys have any questions that I can answer for you? Just build that in at the tail end after you've given a lot of value. By the way, out of curiosity, are you folks thinking about potentially, buying or selling any real estate? The verbiage is very key there, guys. It's not like, hey, you thinking about selling, man? No, that's going to turn them off like a hot water, water on a candle, just done. Yeah. But if you can say, hey, look, out of curiosity, are you folks thinking about buying or selling any real estate this year? And then that's your script. You add it in at the very end. No? Okay, great. Yes? Okay, fantastic. Oh, you're going to buy? Have you talked to a lender? Oh, you haven't? I'll have my lender reach out to you. Bam, lead. Have something written up, get a document written up with an attorney to protect your database so that they can't walk away with your clients and not say, well, I've known them forever. No. Those are yours. And work out a business relationship with them, guys. And that would be a really easy way to go about it. And I think, Matt, that would be a great way to recruit people into the team. So you could go buy. How could you do that? Like, you could get leads. So let's use Prime Seller for an example. They create a generation of leads, of seller leads, but just because of their nature, and I had the problem with them as well, is that they do too damn of a good job. You get too much to follow up with, and having an ISA, either their internal ISA team or an ISA of your choosing, or another agent or someone else to consistently stay on top of them. If you're able to step up your buy numbers, so if you were to spend, let's say you're spending $200 a month on ads, right? Well, step it to $400 to $600 to $800, but you have these other partners that can do the follow up for you, so that you're putting more in the top of the funnel, so more will come out the bottom in regards to listing appointments and or buyer wants and needs every single month, but you have your team around you doing the follow up, because you can't do it. If you have already shown that you can't do the follow up, that's okay. Just leverage outside of it. Think outside the box, guys. Think of someone, maybe okay, here's a perfect example. No, Eileen's not going to do this because she's pregnant with twins. But I mean, someone that's maybe on bed rest as a pregnant woman, or someone who's during maternity leave and it's just like pacing, wearing holes in the carpet because they're pacing around bored as shit and want to get back to work. Someone that's out on medical leave, that's sitting in a bed because they broke their leg for 4 months. They got to do something, right? Look for people that would love to make a few extra bucks, that are pretty good on either sales or just personality, and give them an opportunity to go out and talk to people in your database and come up with some sort of compensation program. Yeah. That's interesting. I just thought about the whole medical side, Matt, because What if you could? I mean, what if there's outpatient programs? What about getting a hold of people that are in bed that were put an offer out there, say, hey, look, are you bedridden or can't leave your house for long periods of time? What are you doing, Matt? You
partner with a physical therapy place.
I knew you had something between your ears. Okay, good. Partner with the
Well, it's called hair, but occasionally the hair comes up with a good idea. That's what's between my ears. Oh my God.
But the physical therapy is great, dude. That's great stuff right there.
Well, and if you're in a place so I'll throw out Omaha as a quick example, but there's places all over the Midwest like this, Texas, Tennessee, whatever, places where there are hotbeds of call centers because the Midwest has kind of a no accent unless you're in like Fargo. But the Midwest, for the most part, is known for not having a regional accent, and so there's a ton of call centers all over the Midwest. Omaha Steaks is a great example of that. I mean, there's hundreds of people that work there doing nothing but either inbound customer service, inbound sales, or outbound sales, where they're actually cold calling people that just maybe ordered in the past or are responding to like a online or offline coupon or something like that. These are fairly cold leads they're calling or responding to. Dude, they're making $15-20 an hour sitting in a horrible cubicle on 96th and Dodge or whatever in Omaha, Nebraska. They would much rather call for you and make more money if they're essentially doing the same thing, which is calling and offering information. So I wanted to touch on that real quick, that you can find people just to make a couple hours of phone calls for you today on top of maybe another part-time job, even another calling job that they're working, because as we get into this brave new horrible world that we've created for ourselves where you can't nobody can employ anybody full time without giving them an inordinate amount of benefits, you're going to see a lot of part-time workers that are still out there looking for their second part-time job, and you can give them something to do. Like you mentioned, Greg, call through your leads for a couple hours a day and just see what happens. And here I want to point out a way that you can do that will make them more effective, because we got this question from Brian. How do you monitor the quality of what you are putting into the funnel, or do you just play the numbers game? And the answer is, if you would like to throw away a lot of money, yes, you can just play the numbers game and not pay attention. But here's how you can make not only yourself, but anyone else that calls through your database more effective. And that's to do what Greg does. Whether you do it with viral marketing or not, put out a couple of videos a month, send them out by email, pay attention to who opens them and call those people back. But even if you don't do that, if you just put out those videos to everyone that's in your database, it gives you the excuse to have you or someone else follow up. And here's the script. Hey, is this John? Yeah. Hey, John, I know that we send our bi-weekly real estate videos to you. Every couple of weeks we're sending out like a new tip or something that's going on in the community or something that's going on in real estate just to keep you fresh on what's going on. I just wanted to see, are you still getting those? Are you seeing those come through? Oh, yeah, I see them. I watch them from time to time. Great. I just want to see, hey, do you have any questions on real estate that we haven't covered in one of those videos? Anything that's been on your mind that you've always wondered about that maybe we could cover in a video over the next couple of months? And usually the answer is no, because you're kind of putting them on the spot, but that's okay. But if they have something, then it means they've been thinking about real estate, and it's a good conversation starter that if they are, they will mention something at that point usually that will give that person an indication, and that gives them a very soft reason to call and a reason to start the conversation that any trained monkey can deliver that script. Yeah, it doesn't have to be you.
And if you guys are completely having a massive brain fart and you're like, I want to do video, but what do I do it about? Guys, I just put a link into realtor.com back to their video section, and they have incredible buyer, seller, all kinds of other videos with really sexy, cool titles, and they're short videos, guys. Go grab those videos and watch them, then put your own little flavor and twist to them and regurgitate them right back out. They're great ideas on where you can start going if you just don't have a fucking clue where to go. And I think that's absolutely fantastic. Facebook.com, guys. Facebook.com. It's like you didn't know what Facebook was. Facebook.com is a fantastic place.
That's right. Now you'll want to go to www. And everybody the under age of 30 just shot themselves in the head.
That's fucking hilarious. Yeah, Walter, quit stalking us. Damn, dude. You know when we go live. Mad. You guys go to realtytimes.com. I'm going to put that link in there. You can get articles on what you can go live here as well. I've talked about this a bajillion times, but it doesn't hurt to go over it one more time. There's that. And for $140 a month, guys, you can literally at $35 a day, No, a week, sorry, $5 a day. You can take these videos and push them out as living business cards, essentially. So you're giving them information. You're telling them who you are, where you're from, and what you're doing, on the first video. And then in the beginning of the video, in the middle of the video, you talk about potentially a quick little break. Like, hey, if you guys are thinking about buying or selling or anything, give me a call. At the end of the video, then you go over the who you are, where you're from, and how to get in touch with you about real estate or anything else in the area. Matt, you and I were on a call with Brian Casella, because we're speaking with him in 3 days down in San Diego at San Diego event. If you guys are in San Diego, dude, come on by. There's a reception afterwards from like 3 to 5. Matt and I are going to be there, and then Matt and I are going to bail out right at 5 because I got a plane to catch and he's got a long drive home. But I'd love to meet you guys if you guys are down there. That was super cool.
It's the San Diego Association of Realtors Expo. So just go, like, I think it's Sandy Core Expo. So guys, if you're in San Diego, you know what your association expo and how to get there. But that's the deal. If you guys are anywhere in SoCal, we'll be speaking at noon. So even if you're in the LA area, Brian's driving down from LA that morning. You can do the same thing. Come hang out with us. It's super cheap. The expo is on the small side, so it's not a very expensive one to hit up, and you can not only hang with us at the live panel, but you can hang out with us at the reception. Like, it's a happy hour thing within the event from 3:30 to 4. So anyway, or 3:30 to 5.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I got diverted. Let me go back to that real quick. So what we're saying about Brian is the fact that we were off air and we're talking about, kind of our what we're going to talk about on stage and the whole nine. And we're like, so, what's going on with your YouTube channel? What are you finding to be successful, or throwing ideas back and forth? And Brian said something that was actually really, something I think you guys should really engage with. He says a lot of the times the reason why he's growing his channel and why we're growing our channel is because we talk about things that aren't always real estate. Matt and I will go off on tangents about fucking Bob from Remax. I mean, that guy.
Freaking Bob.
I mean, those obese children that you raise, the little insulin sucker little bastards. I mean, thank God you live on a slab with reinforced steel in your concrete, because those fuckers will go right through wood. That's right. We go off tangents like that, but people resonate with it. They find it funny. We talk about things that are off real estate. Like I did a video about a market, monster truck thing I went to over the weekend, totally random. But people want to know that you're a human being. So don't always be so rigid and by the book. Have some fun. Show the color of your humor a little bit, and people will resonate with you.
Yeah, agreed. So, I mean, Brian Casella has grown his YouTube channel following to, it just crossed the 30,000 subscribers mark. And he attributes a big part of that to sharing the other parts of his life. Like we've talked about it before on the show, there's the fact that he's into cars, he's into fitness. And so he shares those other aspects of his life, which I think is really key. We probably actually, you and me, Greg, don't do a good enough job because we don't devote enough time to our hobbies to talk about them on video. Greg, I don't even know what your hobbies would be other than drinking microbrews and things like that. But so you should get some. Effectively, this is our hobby. We've talked about that before. I mean, this is doing the podcast is our hobby. So anyway, we could probably do a better job of that. But there was a really good comment here on the group that illustrates perfectly this kind of difference between like hard versus easy when it comes to lead generation. So Caesar Morris said, I door knocked and invited 200 neighbors for our mega open house today. It took about 4 hours between 2 people, and we found great results when delivering invitations. So what do you guys do? And here's what I want to point out about that. Physically spending 4 hours hand delivering invitations for an open house is not as easy as sitting your butt in the seat and making a bunch of phone calls. So in that way, it's hard. But the conversation, very, very easy, very soft.
Yeah, it really is. Once you get out there and just have an opportunity to hang out and talk with other people, the human brain will want to interact with someone that they deem friendly, nice, safe, stuff like that, and not just hear a voice over the phone. So they'll want to be nicer to you as long as you have a fun time talking to them and you're not trying to stay on your script perfectly. If you're just out there bouncing around, hey, yeah, we got an open house coming down next week. Here's some flyers, some information on it. Love to see you guys. How long have you been here? Where'd you guys move from? Do you guys have kids? What kind of sports are they in? Where would you go if you moved? In town, out of town? There's a whole litany of questions that we can go through and kind of interactions. But I mean, just have fun, but then read when Matt grins like that, I know that I'm in trouble. Or there's some
go ahead. I'm just reading the Facebook comments as we go here.
But just have fun with it out there. I mean, I've been out there door knocking in the 100+ degree heat, which I don't think you should do. If it's 100 guys, just go do cold calls. No reason for a heat stroke. Or if it's like just downpouring, you're not going to get anybody out there that's going to talk to you. But I mean, if you're out there just having fun and enjoying life, and they see that you're hustling and grinding, people love to see a hustler. People love to see someone who's out there trying to make their lives better. I mean, nobody's going to fault you unless they're a complete prick. about you hustling and grinding and trying to become better in life. And the only reason they're going to be a dick to you is because they wish they could go do it, but they're too much of a fucking pussy to step up to the plate. I wonder if I'm clear on that one or not.
I think it's plain clear. Yeah. Oh, that's funny. All right.
What were you laughing at?
So Nuria Curtis says, what do you find more effective, door knocking or prospecting over the phone? So Greg, what do you have to say on that, door knocking and phone prospecting when it comes to like the hard versus easy?
It's a loaded question, and you answer yes on both of them. So door knocking is time consuming. So you have to get ready, get in the car, drive out there, park, get out of the car, start doing the door knocking. Then you get done, you get back in the car, drive back into the office. You lose time on the drives, right? But the quality of conversation that you can have on a front porch far outweighs calls, because people are much more likely to be rude to you on a call versus a pop-by or a door knock. Because I mean, at the core of all of us, I mean, our core emotion is love, kindness. For most people, they're not psychopathic killers. But I mean, normal people, it's love and kindness. They generosity, right?
I expected there to be an anti-Matt joke somewhere in there, Greg. What's the deal?
I was building up to it, damn it.
All right, damn. Sorry, I took the air out of your anti-Matt joke.
You did. Now there's just no fun. I can't make fun of you and be pure about it. Okay. But I mean, in all actuality, my father always told me that, if you want to get to know the neighborhoods, and if you're breaking into the business or you're breaking into a marketplace or doing that, dude, get your fucking ass out there and start doing some door knocking. One, you're going to lose some weight. Everyone can do that. Two, you can get a tan. And number three, people are going to get to know you, and you're going to get to know the neighborhoods intimately, to the point where I joke around, but it's true. We know what people eat some nights for dinner because we've spent so much time in the streets. And Matt, the story that I've told several times, I'll tell it again here. When I met that lady, 15 years ago at an open house, she said she lived on the Don Jose street, a street called Don Jose. And I'm like, oh my God, you're the lady. You're about 7 homes in on the left-hand side. You have 2 huge redwood trees. You drive a minivan. Your husband has a motorcycle. You just had a brand new baby, and you got 2 little dogs. She was just like, whoa. She started backing up. I'm like, no, not a stalker, just a door knocker. And she's like, okay, weirdo. But I got to know her, and she and I are friends now. She's actually got into lending. But I mean, That's the level of intimacy you get to know the neighborhoods, and you can see what people are doing. Are they fixing up their homes? Are they not fixing up their homes? Are they prepping for a yard sale? I mean, what's going on in the area? Because you can tell a lot. I mean, if you see a house that's getting work done, talk to the neighbor. Hey, what are they doing over there? They're getting ready to sell, or are they just fixing the house up? And they could be like, well, I don't know. They were talking about maybe selling because they had twins, and I don't know if they have enough room. You're like, oh, all right, going over and knocking on those poor saps.
Yeah. Well, speaking about door knocking, KP has a good question here. Says, I have an open house scheduled for this Sunday. What's the best day and time to door knock and invite neighbors? So it's an open house Sunday. When should they actually be out inviting people? Friday or Saturday. You can either do it either on like a Thursday. It really depends. But you don't want to go, hey, it's a Monday. Let's invite them to next Sunday. They're going to forget about it. The really good thing is either Sunday morning when they're all at church and you're not going to get anybody or piss people off because you start door knocking too early, or do it Saturday afternoon. I mean, just, hey, Matt, Julia, 3 of these little babies. I want to invite you to the open house. We're having it on Sunday, 1 to 4. It's going to be catered. We're going to have some snacks and some goodness. Love to see if you guys can come on by. It's like a license to be a snoop. I mean, and everybody likes to snoop other people's homes. I know personally I do. I mean, I saw there was an open house in my complex on Saturday. I'm like, woo! Shot up 1 level up, walked around in it. And I'm like, God, this is what every other person does. They go and just snoop around houses. When I just take it for granted that I have a lockbox key and I can do it whenever I want to. But it's really fun to do that and give them the permission to do it. Even make a joke out of it. Be like, you know what? Hey, gives all of us to be, an opportunity to be a nosy neighbor. Come on over. Yeah.
They won't be home. You can see what they did. Or bait them and say, hey, look, I'm not sure if you saw it, but they did a huge kitchen remodel. And if you're looking to get any ideas, you got to check this place out. It's like a chef's dream. Just bait them with a different idea. And also, when you guys are doing door knocking for the open house, here's a little tip for you. Don't put the fucking photo of the front of the fucking house on the sheet. They already see the fucking front. Show them the kitchen, the master bathroom. Show them the backyard of the pool.
Greg was very passionate about door knocking flyers. Very passionate.
Hey, it's important, Matt. It's important. But I mean, if you're able to get out there and you show them something else, it's a lure, it's a hook. Because if they see something that they really like, they're like, oh, we should go check this out to get an idea about doing that. It's just, and it's a conversation starter. You can continue. So if it's waning down in the conversation, you don't have anything else to do, and you haven't followed a thing that Matt and I have instructed you on doing the forward or being able to find something on the way up there, you can just point to the sheet and be like, what do you think about the blank blank? The pool, the backyard, the master bathroom, whatever it's going to be. It just perpetuates the conversation.
Okay, I like it. Okay, let's talk about going on the hard versus easy theme again. Let's go to something like expireds or FSBOs, because I've noticed some questions on FSBOs, and there's a good question here about like, hey, I've never worked FSBOs, but one just came up on my own street. Like, should I approach them and stuff like that? So let's talk about that, the way that conversation goes, hard versus easy. So my quick perspective on it is, because those people have a need for what you sell, like there may be initial resistance. So it kind of falls into that hard column. But in terms of getting a deal, it's easier than nurturing someone for a year and a half. So that's another one of those where the initial, like there's a hard and easy component of that, because they definitely need what you're selling. The only question is, do they want it from you?
Are you the douchebag they're going to hire, or are they going to hire the other douchebag?
Exactly.
And I say douchebag, that's a coined term for us realtors.
Sure.
That's in the public's eye. As
opposed to douche grunt, which is a label that Greg made up for himself coming out of college.
I was a douche grunt. I'm no longer a douche grunt. I graduated to senior douche grunt. There's a big pay jump in that too. I went from $2 to $1.50. I mean, degrees. Shit. So let's see here. I got too wrapped up on
FSBOs and expireds, hard versus easy.
FSBOs and expireds. FSBOs are going to be, they're going to be a little testier. Expireds, if you come in with the right approach and with value add, so you can approach, it depends on how many buyers that you're working with, but you can go to all the expireds and say, hey, look, sorry, your home didn't sell, but I have a buyer that's looking to buy. I'm not asking to list your home. I'm asking just to see if I can come show your home. You can do something along those lines, or you can use that line of, hey, I'm looking out there. Coming out here to preview for a buyer of mine. This may work for them. Would love to come on in and take a look at your home. Now they're probably going to be a little bit wary, just like the, for sale by owners, the FSBOs. But if you're going to tell that yarn of having a buyer, you better have a buyer, guys. And don't I got like a $400,000 buyer and your house is 1.5. I think it could work for them. I think it could work. Mm-hmm. It's that much. No, yeah, that's too much out of their price point. You're gonna lose credibility in the seller's eyes. So always be honest, transparent, and upfront in the stories that you're telling. And if, like, I've told this to people on the phone, and you guys may or may not have heard that calling session. The lady goes, "My house is worth $800,000. How much could your buyers afford?" I'm like, "You are way out of my league, lady. I mean, my guys are like $400,000." She's like, well, why are you calling a neighborhood that's 800,000? I'm like, well, traditionally in Concord, you obviously have an upgraded home. Most homes, in the greater area, I did a large circumference, may not meet that price point. And so, I may have other buyers. And I started I started the conversation with her that continued for quite a while.
Sense. Yeah.
And she ultimately was nice to me and wasn't a jerk to me. And we were able to forge she gave me her email or phone number or something for further follow-up. So, I mean,
and because I want to go deeper a little bit into that, because this has come up it's come up in our Rockstar prospecting class that we're doing right now, which is the last run of that. And it's come up on our ISA training with prime seller leads too. Just this, how do I express this? When you are on the phone with someone, Greg, you've been through it so many times and you have so much experience that you don't get really phased when they say something that other people perceive as being resistance or negative, right? So a great example of that came up on the calls today. So it was the objection, we already have, we have someone in the family that's a real estate agent. And everyone that we've ever role played with, their response is always, oh, like it's always disappointment. Greg, you're always the opposite. Like you expect it.
Yeah.
And you're not phased by it. It's like, great. Do they work in the area? Do they live nearby? Like you're always, even though you're about to probe for more information, you are expecting them to say they already have someone. Everybody else I've ever heard has always acted disappointed, as if they expected them to say, no, I have open arms. I'm looking to make contact with real estate agents the world over. Please come over to my house and talk to me about listing my home that I'm not ready to sell yet.
Oh my God. If that ever happens, please message me. I want to know that actually ever happens.
Exactly.
We're going to call the Guinness Book of World Records because you will go into the Guinness Book of World Records.
You found the one person in the world that wants to talk to a real estate agent.
Now, today. Can you come over in 5?
Today. That's right.
Yeah, I mean, I'm like a unicorn.
But the point being, number one, you don't get phased. Number two, even if it's what other people would perceive as a negative response, you completely take it in stride. And you take great pleasure in turning them from being resistant or them giving you answers and giving you pushback, what other people perceive as pushback. To you, it's just, that's just normal. So they have someone in the family they know who's a Joe Schmo real estate agent. Great. So does everybody. They're not thinking about moving. Great. Nobody's thinking about moving. Fine. But then you keep moving on and you keep developing that relationship and you keep the conversation going. And I think that's one of those things where you turn it from a hard call into an easy call just by not being phased. And just by being patient and hanging in there.
Yeah, I mean, and then the other thing, guys, is that you have to understand only 3% of the time, 3%. So you have a 97% chance of epic failure on that call. 97%. You're gonna fucking crash and burn. Just be okay with it. I mean,
but is it failure? If you know how to monetize the no's, it's not really failure. It's failure if you're expecting a yes. Well, if you're expecting a no, it's if you're realistic about the numbers going in, it's not really failure.
Right, and that's where people go wrong is they always expect it to be a yes every single time. They need a win. They have to get a lead every day. It doesn't work that way. It averages out, and it's okay for it to average out, but you have to continue to do it for it to ultimately be a payday for you. God, last week, was it last week? I think it was last week. I was doing cold calls, and I found this lady. She wasn't selling. So I just started bantering and playing and talking with her and everything else. It turned out her name was Tambry. Tambry and her husband are a small-time building company. And, on Saturday, I was able to negotiate a deal for her to buy one of our listings right now that's not on the market yet because it needs a lot of work. And she's going to pick it up at a certain number. The seller's okay with that number because they're going to net out what they need to net out. And that all came from just being nice on the phone, just having an opportunity to develop a conversation in a conversation with another human being. And I wouldn't have gotten it if I had just said, okay, think about selling? No, click, boom. I would have lost a deal. I would have lost an opportunity to help a family.
Yeah.
So it's not hard, guys. It's not hard as long as you're okay with the fact of not getting that yes right now, because this is more of a long-term or long-tail play for the most part. You want to build the relationship. And I'm guilty of this. I just thought about this when we were talking with you, Matt, that I'm guilty of not asking for 50% of the business. Now, what does that mean? I'm glad you asked, Matt.
I did. Thank you. Thank you for complimenting me on my ability to ask invisible questions.
You're welcome. It's quite a trait you have.
It's a new skill, yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm not going to give you any of my granola mix. God, Matt, come on, man. You don't like my trail mix.
Well, I had to ask.
So, guys, when's the last time when you've asked, hey, are you guys thinking about selling? No. Do you ask? But if they're thinking about potentially buying, or nobody wants thinking about buying, because that's the other 50% of the business that most of the time we don't ask for because we're out here just to get listings. But why are you just out there to get listings? I mean, shit, buyers pay just as much as sellers do, and you don't have to do like half the prep work up front. But always ask about the buy on the other side. Otherwise, you're leaving 50% of the potential future business completely out there without any intention of getting it because people only do what you ask them to do or tell them to do.
Okay, well, and this is a personal curiosity question, so forgive me if I throw a massive monkey wrench into the machinery. But so your script when you make outbound calls is usually something along the lines of, "Hey, you're not thinking about selling your home anytime in the next year, are you?" Why wouldn't you say something that's a little bit more general that covers both? Like, "Hey, you're not thinking of making a move this year, are you?" Like, why wouldn't you do something like that? Why would you get specific about selling versus the phrase like "make a move," which kind of covers selling and buying?
Well, you could. There's nothing that you say that you couldn't. I mean, you could be something like, "Hey, Matt, I bet you're not thinking about buying or selling any real estate this year, are you?"
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that would cover both too.
Well, no, I'm not selling, but we talked about buying, or vice versa, or just 100% no. Yeah, or just say, "Matt, I bet you're not thinking about any kind of real estate transactions this year, are you?" I mean, you could use your verbiage on whatever it goes and whatever fits in there, guys. And if you get a whiff of, potential, if you hear that, the maybe like, or like some sort of hesitation, dig deeper on it, ask questions, probe into that, and figure out what's really going on there. Because there might be opportunity. You just need to learn how to ask the right questions. I was talking about that with someone on Saturday, that they just don't ask the right questions. And they're like, what do you mean? I'm like, if you want something, you have to ask for it. You can't expect the other person to just, say, okay, let's do this, or let's do that, or come over and list me, or help me buy. You gotta probe a little bit in regards to, like, are you guys thinking about buying, thinking about selling, thinking about renting, thinking about investing, but not in that order. But I mean, ask for the business. And this can be in your personal lives too, guys. If your spouse or significant other or boyfriend or girlfriend maybe is, giving off a different vibe, or you want to go do something with them, but you're afraid of rejection, practice on them on rejection. I mean, fuck, they already love you. At least we hope they love you and like you. So if you want to go, let's say your boyfriend hasn't taken you out for dinner in a long time. Ask him, hey, you want to take me out to dinner? Or, hey, want to go to dinner with me? Ask for the business and, practice there. I mean, I've never really thought about that. That is a great practice ground, Matt. Could maybe even help you improve your personal relationships, will then ultimately improve your business relationships. And it's all about learning how to ask for what you want. And in real estate, we want deals, we want transactions, we want business, we want buyers and sellers. So what do you think about that?
Well, I think it goes back to, and we covered, like we were just doing a video the other day for this about monetize the no's, which comes from Greg Harrelson. I mean, you can beat yourself up, and you can make prospecting even harder on yourself by taking it very personally when people don't respond to you positively the very first time you reach out, or whatever the case is. I deal with this, a lot, I guess, in my business, both because we'll reach out to book people on podcasts and they'll either say no, or we get no response. It just goes out into the ether and does nothing. Or we'll get on the line with them and they're just, they're not right for it. They don't want to, the audience isn't big enough or whatever. So we face the rejection of that. But I'm in it for the long haul. And I learned this approach from Greg Harrelson to monetize the no's, which means that I still want the relationship. So in the world that I run in, and then really in the worlds that we all run in, like whether it's your local market, or whether it's kind of this, small circle of coaches, speakers, consultants that I run in, that a lot of people know each other. I want the relationship, right? So the relationship is more important to me than whether they come onto a podcast, whether they become a client now or this year or the next couple years. Like, I know that I want a relationship with that person, and I reach out to people that I want relationships with, regardless of whether they themselves ever become a client. So, and I learned that from Greg talking about monetizing the no's, because he's like, I was making all these phone calls and all these people are saying no. So if I'm only monetizing the 3%, which are the yeses, how can I monetize the no's? And just asking yourself that question forces you to go down the rabbit hole of, well, how do I monetize the no's? Well, you build a relationship with all those people so that when they do have that need that comes up, then they think of you. And in real estate terms, that's building a database, keeping in touch with them with helpful content, doing community events, doing stuff that keeps you in touch with them. For me, so I've had to find like a few ways that I can bring value to people, because you talk about like follow-up being hard versus easy. What makes it hard, I think, for us is when we reach out and we don't feel like we're adding value. We feel like we're taking value, because the only reason we're following up is just to see if they're ready to do a transaction with us. Yeah. That's what gives us the feeling of, like, I don't want to call that person, or I don't want to reach out to them. But if you have a genuine reason to reach out that genuinely adds value to them, and you feel it like internally, like it's valuable to them, I mean, honestly, would you have any hesitation picking up the phone right now? No matter how big of a prospect it is, no matter how much money is at stake, if you felt like there was a reason that didn't have anything to do with them working with you or becoming a client, where you could add value to their lives, you'd pick up the phone right this second.
Oh, absolutely.
So it's looking for that. It's putting that work into figuring out what is that for you. Like for me, I figured out it's introducing people to other podcasts and just looking for ways to make connections and help people build relationships with each other, completely apart from whether they ever do anything with me or not.
Yeah, the point was made to me a couple of years ago when I bought my current car, and we were talking. I was in the middle of negotiations for the vehicle, and I told my buddy Casey. He's like, well, Greg, let me ask you this question. If the car dealer, where they had the car and they know that you wanted the car, would you be upset if they called you at 8 o'clock on Saturday morning and just checking in with you to see if you're still interested? I'd be like, hell no, I wouldn't be upset. He's like, that's the same thing with home buyers and home sellers. You can call them at all different types of the day, but as long as you know that you're bringing value to them, and you have to understand that you're bringing value to them, then you'll get over the fact that you might piss someone off, because I never told the guy to call me at 8 a.m. on a Saturday morning, but what if he had done it, I wouldn't have been ticked. And because we only associate cold calls and prospecting with the people that are annoying as fuck. Like I don't know if my name got on a list or something, man, but I'm getting so many freaking, automated phone calls to my cell phone lately. I mean, it's just like been blowing up, and it's really annoying because they bounce the numbers all over the U.S.
Yeah.
And oh my God, dude, I want to throat punch someone. But, it's because I know they're not bringing value because there's an unsolicited phone call. And it's the way they're doing it.
Right.
If they were much kinder and nicer and, hey, what's going on, man? Did I catch you at a bad time? Got a quick question for you, or something like that, I'd be much more open to talk to them. So you guys have to practice, if you feel that you're not bringing value to people, ask them. Hey, I'm sorry to intrude on you, and thanks for taking my call. Was this an intrusive phone call? I'm trying to become better and better at doing my calls or doing my doors or whatever else. Did I do anything that offended you or irritated in any way, shape, or form? Yeah, is it a ballsy question to ask? Hell yeah, it's a ballsy question to ask. You're really hanging it all out there. But it's real-time feedback. And, I mean, what are they going to do? The worst thing that they can do is not tell you the truth. The best thing they could do is tell you the truth. So if you did irritate them, great. How'd I piss you off? Oh, I did. Oh, it's 7:45 in the morning on Saturday is too early. Okay, I get that. How about 10? No, too early. How about 12? Oh, 12 would be okay. Okay, thanks. Great. Now you have a barometer. Now you're getting an idea of what people do and do not like.
And that will depend on the area, East Coast versus the West Coast, Midwest, stuff like that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. 100%. I mean, there was I'll tell a story about a guy. He's a younger guy. And he was out door knocking with me, and of course race has nothing to do with it, but it's a predominantly Caucasian neighborhood, and there was a younger black gentleman that I was working with about 3 years ago, and up in the training class he was a younger agent and just one of the nicest dudes, man, just one of those guys you just want to hang out with because he's just super cool, mellow dude. And I'm like, why don't you go and door knocking, man? We've talked about this 1,000 times, and this comes back to the hard side. He goes, because I'm afraid I'm going to get shot. And I'm like, wait, hold on. You're afraid you're gonna physically bang bang to the chest, to the head, dead, like DOA, rip, you're done. He's like, yeah, I'm afraid I'm gonna get shot. I'm like, get your fucking ass in the car. We're going door knocking right now. And I had nothing but business cards. I'm like, just let me lead the way. Let me show you, that you have nothing to fear about door knocking or outbound prospecting. He could see him shaking. Standing behind me. And I showed him how to door knock, right? And I showed him how to interact with people. Now, he kind of loosened up a little bit more as we kept going through the neighborhood. Now, this is where the story gets really awesome. Very last door. Dude, swear to Gam opened up the door, man. She was sitting there. She had the white apron on, grandma, elderly woman. And, dude, the smell of fresh cookies just punched you right in the face. Like, and she talking to us, and she's like, well, that guy across the street, he's thinking about selling and blah, blah, blah. And would you boys like a fresh cookie? And I'm like, oh, yes, ma'am. And so she comes out, and she has 2 piping hot cookies on little napkins for us, and she gives them both to us. And I walk away, and I turn to my door knocking compadre. I'm like, so you still think you're going to get shot? And a mouthful of fresh cookie. Nope. But he was able to learn to the fact that, look, it's not bad. Look, you got a free freaking cookie out of this. Mm-hmm. All you have to do is you wouldn't have been able to get the cookie if you weren't able to do that. So, I think that it's all about mindset, and that changed his mindset from negative to positive because of one small act of kindness. And I think once you guys experience that, the perceived hard prospecting is no longer going to be hard. It's only hard if you tell yourself it's going to be hard. And that goes all the way back to mindset, Matt. And, I joke around that your hardest door knocking is your car door. As soon as you open that fucker up, you're good to go, because you're just like, and dude, I had problems with this too. I would sit in the car and be like, it's too hot. My feet hurt. My back hurts. This. I'm like, bitch, get out of the damn car. And then out of the car, lock the door. I'm like, okay, here we go. To the front door. I'm like, okay, no one's home. And then, hello? I'm like, fuck. Hi. But it was so easy after that first conversation. And dude, this is gravy cakes, man. Everyone's gonna be cool, and I just had a good time with it. So.
Well, so that sums up the hard versus easy. It's definitely relative, right? So what people would perceive as hard, as in whether it's expireds, whether it's door knocking, whether it's cold calls, for some people that's easier. And even whatever you consider hard, you can turn it into easy just by hanging in there and not taking the negative as what it is. Just hanging in there, being positive, reacting differently from what people would expect, and just always coming from contribution. Absolutely, Ronnie. So, guys, we want to thank everyone for watching. So we've been slaving away on this new class, Get Now Business, for a while now, and we restricted ourselves to no call and cold calling, no door knocking, specifically because of that perception, and also that the budget couldn't be outrageous, but nothing more than a few $100 a month in terms of like marketing spend to do this. So go to getnowbusiness.com. You can check out the information for that. That's a live training class. It's 4 weeks long, so it's 1 hour a week with us on Zoom, where you get to interact. You get to be on video. You don't have to be, but you get to be on video with us. It's up to you, but we'll send out the link. And you will join us every Monday morning at 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern, for in-depth training on how to get clients now. So there's certain activities and there's certain types and groups of people that you can reach out to that give you a higher probability of getting clients into the pipeline quickly, that are ready to do something and will put commission into your pocket faster than just going out and randomly talking to people and starting conversations. And the question is, who are those people? How do you start conversations, and how do you develop conversations that actually convert into clients? And that's what we cover in that course. So that starts first class is May 8th. So Mike says, better put clothes on for it. We would appreciate it.
What up, Josh Bryan? How are you, my friend? Oh, my God.
Nicole says, are you going to make me role play? Hell
Yep.
Yes.
Fuck yeah,
Absolutely, because if you have to ask that, you are the first person we will make to role play, because if you're too scared to role play with us, then you're going to be afraid to talk to a potential client.
That is
Josh Bryan, how long is the course? 9 hours. Just for you. Not for anybody else, just for you.
the rest everyone else is going to do it 4 hours in the month, but you, Josh, it's 9 continuous hours with no pee breaks.
That's right. And absolutely no pee breaks for you. You better have a Hungry Man frozen dinner in the oven for you. Nicole says, dang it. Yes, absolutely. So, guys, it's 1 hour a week, every Monday morning for an hour for 4 weeks. So that is it. Get Now Business. Guys, other than that, we appreciate everyone sharing the show, talking about the show, telling your friends in real estate about it. As you may have noticed, we don't do any advertising for the show. The show has grown. Yeah, I was going to say, you've always pushed for it, but we're not doing anything. And Nicole, Joe did a great job role playing today with Greg and Matt. Fantastic. Yes, Joe actually did a fantastic job of role playing today on Rockstar Prospecting. Guys, that is the opportunity to Get Now Business. You can also follow us on Facebook. Greg, anything else that you want to say about how they can get in touch with us and connect with us?
Yeah, guys, write us a review on iTunes. Follow me, please. Hear the words coming out of my mouth. Do not friend me, guys. Follow me on Facebook. Follow Matt. If you're down in San Diego, you're watching this live, please come and hang out with us, guys. I would love to get to meet you guys face to face. We see your names pop up all the time, but that's all we get to see is a frozen shot and a name. Love to put a personality behind it. And we love you guys beyond words, and thank you for supporting us. It truly means the world to us. And help us, if there's anyone out there that you know that has a Facebook group that is an admin of it, and you think this would be good content into it, let us talk to the admin so that we can get admin status, and then we can push this into that group as well. And to Josh and everyone at Prime Seller Leads, thank you for letting us push this into your group, and we love working with you guys. You guys are some cool-ass fools.
That's right.
I think that's it, Matt. I haven't offended everybody. I can't.
In the future, in this slot, we will be reading hater comments. So, so I'm going to have Greg, as we have horrible comments come in from people dissing the show on YouTube or Facebook or whatever, I'm going to have Greg start to read one at the end of every show whenever I can find one, and it would be like celebrities read mean tweets. So we'll do that. That we're looking forward to that. As the show grows, we're starting to get a few haters turn up and insult mostly Greg. I mean, there's nothing really to insult me about that I've ever said, but mostly Greg. So I can have Greg read those comments.
Oh, guys, if you see them or if you get them, please send them in.
Please
send
please
this
bring
in.
them to our attention, guys. So if you see a hater, insulting Greg or insulting the show or whatever the case is, please let us know. Please message us on Facebook. We would love to see it. Not just the good stuff, but the bad stuff, because then we can read it at the end of each show. I think it'd be a lot of fun.
That'd be a lot of fun. Ronnie, I think we're going to be doing an event with Prime Seller Leads maybe about once a quarter or something like that. We haven't really put it all together. They're out of Naples. So where the hell is Orlando? No, Orlando, you're in the middle. Come on down, man.
Yeah.
It's a long-ass drive. But what else? We got a couple other comments in here. Stefan, what up, player? Fucking Bob from Remax. You know it, Stefan. Fucking Bob.
Freaking Bob. All right, guys.
We got to go.
Thank you. We appreciate that you love the show. We love you for loving the show. We appreciate everyone else that loves the show. And thank you so much, guys, for supporting it and spreading the word. We really, 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 really appreciate it. Like we said earlier, this is our hobby. This is what we do for fun. If you dropped $100 million into our laps, all we would do is just do more of the show.
We would.
So that's all I got to say about that.
Yeah. All right, guys. Before this thing shuts us down, we're going to shut it down for us. So until Wednesday, peace out, ninjas. We gone.